perfect mess is my perfect mess. Perfect mess is my perfect mess.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and this is episode 46. So, let's jump right in. I'm not going to pull no punches this podcast. If you follow me, you know what's been going on with me and the things that I've been talking about on my Instagram. And I told you that I would give you a podcast, and here it is. Before we move into this, I want to let you guys know I am on social media. You can follow me on Instagram at the podcast is on Instagram at the Perfect Mess Pod, and my personal Instagram is It's Ray Molina. You can also follow me on TikTok, same name, It's Ray Molina. We're on Facebook. We are on pretty much everything, and YouTube as well. So you can search there and subscribe. The Perfect Mess Podcast with Ray Molina. Make sure you search that. And my website is always raymolina.com. Anything you see me wearing in these episodes, if you're on YouTube, or if you see me wearing a certain shirt or whatever on the podcast cover, that is available on my website. And they're always there for purchase. And I always appreciate the support. All right. So with that being said, let me... you know me, always drinking my tea. So let's just jump into this, man. I hope you guys are okay. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're taking care of your families. And, you know, with everything that's going on right now, I hope you're making the best decisions for you and your family. And you're not letting other people make those decisions for you. So here it is. Most of you know, if you listen here, I'm from California. More specifically, Northern California in the Bay Area. And what has been going on recently in California has been pretty nutty. And it was just a matter of time before they were going to start bringing these mandates and all these things that they're trying to push on us here in California up to Northern California. And it finally happened. I think if you listened to the podcast a couple episodes ago, even last episode, I said they were doing it in LA County. And I said it was just a matter of time before it came here to where I'm at, which is in the South Bay area in Northern California. And it's here. So the other day, Governor Newsom, spoke about setting it mandatory for all kids to be vaccinated. He said that he was going to try and get it approved, or it's being sent to be approved by the FDA. And once the FDA approves it, he is going to give a date. That date looking like it's going to be sometime in 2022, where all children are going to have to be vaccinated. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you are not vaccinated, you cannot attend school. Yeah. That's where we're at. I've been very open and very vocal about how I feel about that. I'm not happy about that. I don't co-parent with the government. And I am not excited about what is coming. And he's forced a lot of us to put a line in the sand and say, hey, this is where I draw the line. We're not going to comply with this. The crazy thing about this mandate is he waited until his recall got crushed and he was able to beat the recall and basically remain governor. So once he did that, I'm sure he had a list of things that he was going to do once that happened, and this is just one of them. What irritates me as a father, and as always, I know everybody that listens to this podcast has a difference of opinion. Maybe all of you guys don't agree with me on some things, but maybe you agree with me on other things. Maybe this is one of the topics you don't agree with me on, and that's totally fine. Remember, I always tell you I keep an open mind, and I'm for you making the right choices for your family. Whether they are in agreement with me and what I choose to do with my kids or whatever, it doesn't matter. I just want everybody to have the right to do what they need to do for their family, what's in the best interest of their family. All right. So, what is really bothering me about this thing about the kids is the facts have already came out about children and COVID. All right, and we know that it's some ridiculous number of like less than a percent of children who get it end up in the hospital sick, like deathly ill, like less than a percent, or pretty damn close to that. And what disturbs me is knowing the okay. Let's let's talk about this. They always say follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. Well, if the science is telling you that fact, and you're still pushing this, it makes no sense. What that tells me is you have another agenda. There's something else you're trying to do. Because if we're supposed to follow the science, and the science tells us that children are okay, and less than a percent of them get deathly ill and have to end up in the hospital should they get COVID, something's wrong here. Something's going on. There's another agenda. I don't know if it's the fact that, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the fact that big pharma uh, is selling these vaccines to California, and and they basically have some kind of a kickback. Maybe there's something like, hey, Newsom, if you can get California to jump on board, we will give you X amount of these vaccines to vaccinate California at this rate and give you a kickback. I don't know. I have no idea. It's just there has to be some other agenda here. Because if the science tells you something so crazy that it's less than a percent, and you are now mandating and forcing this on our children, knowing that tells me that you're ignoring science and you're still pushing through. And what's even crazier is that we've got families and parents that are just saying, okay, cool, just another vaccine, no problem. Okay, we'll do it. Go ahead, pop that needle in my kid with this new vaccine that we have. And people are just fine with it because you know what they're being sold? If you get on Twitter, if you get on news or whatever it is, they're telling you, hey, and even Governor Newsom, this came out of his mouth in his last press conference. The kids they get 10 to 12 different vaccines already as it is. They get them already every year. This is just one other vaccine that they're going to have to start taking. Here's the thing. Those vaccines that we've all taken, including myself when I was a kid, if you go to, and I pulled this up because I wanted to make sure I was correct. I wanted to make sure that if I'm giving you guys some information that I did some research. If you go to historyofvaccines.org, it talks about all the vaccines, all of them. But the one thing that reigns supreme about all of them is this. Vaccine development is a long, complex process, often lasting 10 to 15 years and involving a combination of public and private involvement. 10 to 15 years. Long process. I don't even believe this has been a year that they've had this thing. Maybe it's been a year and a half. One of these vaccines got pulled because it was giving people blood clots, and people were dying. They pulled it off the market. Now they're bringing it back, saying, "Hey, we're ready now." Why do you think they did that? Could it be because they ran the test and they seen, okay, some people are dying, they're getting blood clots and whatnot, we got to fix that. Okay, now we're good now. All of these things are trial and error. Trial and error. I'm no doctor. I'm no, I don't work for a pharmacy company. I'm not educated in that field. But what I'm telling you is simple common sense. And I know I know common sense is not very common these days. I know. I'm going to get into that in this podcast. Common sense sounds crazy to people nowadays. Why? Because you're using your brain. Because you're not taking in what the news and the government and everything is telling you and just saying, okay. You're using your brain. And that's not so common nowadays. I don't know what the agenda is. I know that I'm frustrated. I know that it's upsetting me that they continue to push. And it doesn't seem like there's an end in sight. And as a father, I talk to my kids' moms, and thank God, and I know she listens from time to time, but thank God we are on the same page. Now, she's not as gung-ho as me, um, you know what I mean? But she understands my take, and she is supportive and understands that, hey, there's some things that I'm going to stand up for that she's going to maybe not be 100% on board, but she's a good 90% on board. But she's also a good voice of reason because she'll tell me certain things like, hey, I hear you, but just keep in mind with this. But here's the thing. I always tell you guys, I'm not anti-vax. I know everybody's like, how could you say you're not anti-vax? But look at you. And then look at the shirt you're wearing. For those who are not on YouTube, I have a shirt on that says vaccine passport and it has an AR-15 on it. What that's basically saying is, I'm not rocking with your vaccine passport. This ain't China, this ain't Russia, we ain't doing any of that. We're just not. This is America, we got freedoms. All right? We have freedoms. It's not what we're built on. We don't move like that. We may be moving like that right now, but I'm not going to be a part of it. And there's a lot of us that ain't. But going back to the anti-vax thing, I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti you pushing, and I've said this before, I'm anti you pushing it upon me. Because when I get pushed, I'm looking at you like, why are you pushing so hard? Now I don't want to do it. Why are you pushing so hard? We could apply this to normal life. When a friend of yours comes over and all of a sudden they're pushing to do something, hey, no, let's go there. Hey, man, I told you, let me finish this up and I'll go. But we got to go now. Why don't we go do this right now? Yo, man, I told you I was going to go, but now you're like really pushing. Why do we got to go there right now? Are you setting me up? What are we doing? Why are you being so pushy? I told you, let me finish it. You know what I mean? We've all been in situations like that where people have tried to push us, and then finally we kind of catch on like, yo, what is your deal? Why are you being so pushy right now? What are you trying to, what are you up to? That's exactly my attitude when it comes to this vaccine mandate and how they're pushing. As a father, like I just was getting into, me and their mom made a compromise, okay? And I'm still willing to compromise. I'm open to it. I'm not just trying to make a stand and say, and be some stubborn ass bullheaded man. I'm not. We made a compromise. My kids wanted to go back to school. They wanted to be around their friends. They wanted to run around and play again. So when they said, hey, the kids will be coming back for the first month and a half, it'll be only a day or two a week, but we want to ease them into the process again. But hey, parents, they need to wear a mask. I'm not a big fan of the mask. I get it. I have a mask. I always carry a mask. There's a mask sitting right here on my desk. I can't find it, but I always have a mask with me. I don't like them. I'm not a fan of them. Okay? I'm another person who doesn't believe that they do anything, but I wear them out of respect. Okay? I wear them out of respect for elderly people when I'm around. I wear them out of respect. I always keep one in my pocket because if someone says, hey, do you mind? Because we've got, people here. Even if I don't feel, just out of being respectful, I'm like, yeah, I got you. Or when I'm a small businessman, when I go and do quotes for people, like I just recently did them for a church. And before I showed up, I said, hey, would you like me to wear a mask when I show up? I have one. I don't typically wear them, but I will if you're asking me to, and they did. So I wore it. So before you guys jump all over me and tell me, hey, you're anti-vax, you're anti-mask, I am not. I am not. But here's the thing. We made the compromise, okay? Kids got to wear the mask. I'm not a fan of it. We said, cool. My kids want to see their friends again. They want to get back to some normalcy. We did that. Kids wear the mask. I'm that dad when I pick my kid up. I'm like, hey, take it off. The minute we get off the school run, take the mask off. We're not going to be walking around the school like all these other people wearing masks, covering their face as they walk to the car, getting in their car, still wearing the mask. We ain't doing that. Take your mask off. That's the extent that it goes. When it came to this mandate and now them pushing and saying, hey, as of this date coming up, once the FDA approves it, we're going to have to push and everybody needs to get the vaccine. Again, I'm even willing to compromise with that. We're not doing the vaccine. We're just not. But if there's a compromise, you say, okay, if you don't want your kids to get the vaccine, then your son or your daughter will have to give a COVID test every week. If that's an option, we're all for it. Don't want it, don't like it, but hey, it is what it is. If both of my sons have to get a COVID test every Monday or whatever day of the week it is, then so be it. Go get the test. Fine, we'll compromise. I'll bend a little, but I'm not going to break. If that's not good enough, you want our religious exempt? Let's do it. We'll fill it out. We'll do it that way. But if these things are not offered, and from what I'm hearing, it's going to be an issue. I'm hearing that some of them are not even going to be willing to do the test every week, and I'm hearing that people are going to have their religious exempts denied. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I'm hearing. It's another thing that has me questioning, what is your motive? What are you doing? If we are willing to work with you, if we are willing to do these other things, aside from not having to do that vaccine, what is your motive? If parents like myself are saying, hey, we'll give you a religious exempt, or we'll submit our children to a weekly COVID test. We'll do all that. Our kids will wear a mask. How come none of that is good and it's just needle or nothing? If you don't question that and what the motive is, I don't know what is wrong with you. And I'm talking to anybody who's listening. If you're not questioning that and you're just saying, yeah, you should be questioning, what is your motive? Because we are not all the same. My kids' bodies don't react to things the way your kids' bodies do, and vice versa. I've already talked about this. There are people that have religious backgrounds that won't touch this stuff. They don't believe in it. But here we are. You don't get it, you can't go to school. You can't go to school. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's what's happening right now. I laugh because I see the narrative. It's the funny, and I just talked about it. It's the narrative of, well, they already get vaccines. They already get vaccines. Why are you trying to make things difficult? I'm not making things difficult, and anybody else who's standing just like myself is not making anything difficult. We are saying put that thing through the proper test like every other vaccine, like it's supposed to be, and then we can revisit it. I'm fine with that. But we're not going to be your little test subjects. It's not going to happen. You're not going to use my children as your little test subject. I'm sorry. Answer me this. Why can't you sue the pharmacy company? Why can't you sue the hospital? Why can't you sue the government? Why can't you sue any of them? They all have protection. Okay, let's say you're for the vaccine with your children. What are you going to do if little Johnny has a reaction? I don't know what kind of reaction these things give. I don't know. Let's just throw one out there. Let's say little Johnny has some sort of heart failure a day or two or a week after he gets the shot. Never had heart problems in his life, but has heart failure. Dies. Wouldn't you want to be able to go back and say, my son has been healthy or my daughter has been healthy for 12, 13, 14 freaking years? They take that shot and within a week they're gone. I want to sue somebody. Hey, but you can't. We're protected. Well, I'm going to sue the doctor. Well, I'm going to sue the pharmacy company. I'm going to sue the hospital. I'm going to sue the government. Can't do it. We're all protected. Sorry. Why does that not have anybody or some of you questioning? Why does it not have you guys opening your ears, opening your eyes, saying at least, man, that's a really good point. Why are they protected? What happens if my son or daughter does take this and I'm trying to be a good American and I'm not trying to fight this? What happens if my son or daughter does take this and something does happen? I just got to eat that? Do you hear what I'm saying? You got to eat that. You got to eat the fact that your son or daughter may be gone. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. You can't sue nobody. Hey, sorry about it. We'll say a prayer for you. You don't take those risks with your children. We are supposed to protect our children. And I know some of you right now that just heard that. I know it. I know you're listening. I know some of you right now just said, well, that's what we're doing, Ray. We're protecting our children. Are you really? Are you really? You're a damn fool and you're lying to yourself because they've already told you. You get the vaccine, you can still get the damn COVID and you can still pass it. Let me say it again. You get the vaccine, you can still get COVID, and you can still pass it. We're protecting our children. Really? Well, the symptoms aren't as bad. If you get it when you're vaccinated, you'll survive it. It's a crock of shit. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. That's a crock of shit, and you know it. I don't judge people, man. I used to do that when I was younger, and every now and then I slip up, but I'm trying not to judge people. But you do not use your children like that. You defend them. You block them from this shit. You stand up and say, I'm not going to let you test this. I'm not going to let you do this to my kid. You run that damn vaccine through the process. Get it up to 10, 15 years. Shit, get it to 8. And then let's talk about it. You don't run this through the damn country in a year and a half and tell everybody it's okay when you've had to shut things down. You had to pull things off the market because they were messing up. And then you have to go and take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 booster shots to make the damn thing work or last. It's not normal. Let me ask you something. You get a booster shot for the polio? You get a booster shot for the flu? Simple question. Do you get a booster shot, multiple booster shots for any of these other vaccines that we take? I didn't think so. I am so sick of people accepting the lies. I'm so sick of people seeing and hearing people lie to them, and they just accept it. You just take it. You don't question anything, you just take it. You can see video, you can hear audio, you can see it all. And you still just say, well, I'm trying to be a good American. Let me explain something to you. Let me tell you where they messed up, okay? And listen closely. This is where they messed up. Last year, I was terrified of homeschooling. When I realized that we were going to have to change our lives around, when I say we, I mean myself, my kid's mom, and my children. When I realized that we were going to have to make changes to our work schedule, changes to our everyday life, and we were going to have to be more hands-on than we had ever been in our lives, I was terrified because I didn't know if I could do it. And what made it harder for my situation was we have two homes, mine and their mom's. I can only imagine how that would be and the heads that would butt if we were all living together. Where they messed up was we made it through. We learned that it was possible. We learned that we could do this. And we were more capable of teaching our children from home than anything. They messed up. Because now it's like they're daring us. It's like they're daring us. If you don't get this vaccine, you're not welcome here. You can't come here. You can't come to school and get your education. You have to go home. And mom and dad will have to homeschool you. And in the back of their minds, they're thinking, mom and dad ain't going to want to do that. Mom and dad have to work. Mom and dad are going to be stressed out. Listen real close. Mom and dad figured out they could do it last year. So if we got to go right back to doing it this year, until you clowns figure out that we ain't playing, then we'll do it. You messed up last year because we know we can do it now. And we're not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. Yeah, it will be hard. It will be stressful. It will be trying. It will be difficult. There won't be easy days. There'll be easy days. There won't always be easy days. And my kids will miss their friends. But we know that we can make it work. I have been praying heavily more recently. I've been praying for guidance because there are so many things going on right now that I'm really in disbelief. And it's weird even saying that because why should I be in disbelief anymore? Everything that's happening is stuff that we used to joke about years ago. That wouldn't it be crazy if this happened here? And it's all happening. It's all happening. All of it. Everything we used to joke about 20 years ago is happening right now. And it's not a joke, it's serious. So I've been praying heavily. I wake up in the morning and I pray. And And throughout my day, I pray. And at night, I pray. I have never felt like this before. I have never felt cornered by the government. I've never felt like that. It's so strange to me to even just say that. Being cornered by the government. I have never in my life felt like this. I've never been in this situation. Growing up, in tough neighborhoods like I did, you deal with stuff like this with people, and going through stuff like this and having to have these little battles and whatever it is until you get older and realize it was all stupid shit. But never in my life have I ever said I felt cornered by the government and I felt like I needed to take a stand and fight the government. Just saying that is crazy. But you know what's even crazier? Is I've never felt more strong in my faith, in my heart, and how I feel about something. I've never felt more confident that this is the hill that I'm willing to stand on and say, not no more. I've never felt like this before. And I know there's a lot of you out there that feel the same way because my numbers in my Instagram used to go down a lot. And I think I've lost a lot of the people that are not feeling how I'm vibing off this whole thing right now. So what I've been noticing is those numbers are actually growing at a faster rate. So I know a lot of you hear what I'm saying and you understand and you feel it. When we go through something like this, what we're going through with the government, it can go so many ways, right? It can go good, it can go bad, it can wind you up in jail, it can, who knows, man. But I can't get myself to throw in the towel. I can't. I can't do it. I've never felt so strong and passionate about something. And I think it's now that because it involves my children. And I've raised my kids telling them you have to stand up for what you believe in. You have to fight for yourself. You have to fight for what you believe in. If you say you believe in something, you have to stand on it. And you have to be able to have a valid reason for why you're taking that stand. I can't teach my children that, and then at the very moment that I'm supposed to stand and do that, I show them the opposite. I can't do it. I need my kids to grow up. And when I'm gone, I need them to say that my dad fought and stood up for things that weren't popular. Some people may have said my dad was stubborn. Some people may have said my dad was crazy. But those people don't know my dad. Those people don't know my dad's passion. They don't know that my dad is willing to take an L so we can see what it looks like to say, not on my watch. Not on my watch. It's not going to happen. Not with me, not my family, not my kids. And I know I say an L because most of the times we lose those things because the government's so powerful. But something like this can be won. It doesn't have to be an L. But it's going to take so many of us to really stand your ground and to say, no, I don't care what the repercussions are. It is not happening. I will not. I'm going to close this out like this. And I need to drink a little bit of water because this is going to be a doozy. After all this, everything that's going on, I've come to one realization. And I want to say thank you to the doctors who've lied about stats to keep us in fear. To Fauci, who had a hand in this the whole time and continues to lie to lace his pockets. To the president, who was caught in a lie after lie after lie and denies it. And we all just go on living. To the businesses who we helped stay afloat that now turn us away. To the officers we backed during the defund movement, who now arrest us and enforce these mandates. To the airline stewards who kick us off with our families and our babies because our babies won't keep a mask on. To the media who reports an agenda and not the news. To the teachers who've removed the USA flag and hung the pride flag and or the Antifa flag and asked our kids to pledge to one of those. To the schools who hire these teachers who have their own agendas, like gender fluidity, socialism, and push them onto our children. To the Vatican for now requiring a vaccine proof to visit. To the churches who closed their doors and threw in the towel when they should have stood and fought. To the musicians that are doing these corny remixes to help push the vaccine. To the government officials who continue to get caught breaking their own mandates, but we just turn the other cheek. To the political activists who've only showed up when the cameras are on. To everyday citizens who have made it their duty to shame people as if they were holier than thou. To Big Pharma for raking in the dough as we all fall apart. To these social media platforms for censoring, fact-checking, indisputable facts because it goes against the narrative. To any and every star saying fuck your freedoms if they affect me. To the people who have never stood and fought for anything worth fighting for in their life, who call people like myself a bad American, a fake Christian, a persecuted patriot, a coconut, a Trump boy, a racist, a fascist, a sellout, and anything else they can muster up. Thank you. All of you. I thank you. You've done a wonderful thing for me over the last 2 years. And that was to bring me closer to my God and help me stand in my faith, strong, and hold tight to my Bible as well as my gun. Never before in my life have I felt more passionate about what I believe in, what I stand for, and what I'm willing to die for. I owe that to you, every single one of you that I just said. Thank you. God bless you guys. I love you. This has been episode 46 of the Perfect Mess Podcast.
Perfect mess is my perfect mess. perfect mess is my perfect